Well, hello there. Welcome to Chaos on the Set. How are you
Well,
today?
fine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I watched your documentary. You are the survivor
Yes.
of James Michael Randall.
Yes.
He is a serial killer. He was born August 28th of 1954,
Yes.
correct? Um, so he's an American criminal convicted of multiple kidnappings and murders well, he was convicted of two, but
We know of many
we
more.
know of more in the Tampa Bay area during the 1990s, which is when I was born. Just saying. Um, he was a chief suspect in 1984 murder of. Oh, okay, Holly Jean Coate. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
In Massachusetts.
His
Um,
wife's best friend.
that was his wife's best friend. Okay. Wow. He was apprehended July 1st of 1996,
28 years ago yesterday.
and he is. Wow. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yesterday, that's crazy. He's currently serving, thank God, 2 life sentences.
Yes, and he still has a detainer from Worcester, Mass.
And he's at Charlotte Correction. What does that mean, detainer?
It means that he's got 2 consecutive life sentences here, which will be eligible for parole. Yes, killers are eligible for parole
In what state? In Florida?
in Florida. So the detainer means that they won't let him go here. They'll just move him to Massachusetts.
Oh, because he has. Okay,
Yes,
got it. And he's currently in Charlotte Correctional Institution in Florida.
that's where he was. I don't think that's where he is currently.
Okay, that's what my notes say. Sure. But we are very appreciative of you being here today. I'm so excited to interview. But your story is insane,
Yes,
insane,
yes.
and I'm so glad you're here to tell it.
Thank you.
So please, let's start with okay. So I watched your documentary, and you were dating a serial killer, married
I
to,
I was engaged to him.
engaged to. Okay,
He asked me to
and
marry him in front of my mother.
wow,
My whole family was. A lot of them were retired police officers.
that's
And
ballsy.
yes, they say he really rather liked hiding out in the middle of a family of
Hmm.
police officers.
Sounds legit.
Yeah,
That's a good hiding spot, isn't it?
yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So how long were you dating him before he had asked you to marry him?
Um, 2.5 years.
Okay. And how did you guys meet?
We met on the street.
Straight.
I was working on the street. My life had not gone in the direction that I had hoped. I had become addicted to drugs. And, at first it was for money, and then it was for it was
For
it was
money.
more about getting high. At first it was
Oh, okay.
when I
Okay.
got into
Okay.
drugs, it was first about making money.
Okay.
And believe me, back in the 70s and 80s, we made a lot of
Yeah, I can imagine.
money.
Because there wasn't a fentanyl killing people in it.
Right. So then I became addicted, and I eventually ended up on the streets in Clearwater, Florida.
And you're from
Gaylord, Michigan.
Gaylord, Michigan. And how old were you when you moved down here?
9,
9. With your family?
with my family.
Okay. And so then what age did you end up on the streets?
About 30,
30.
32,
Okay.
somewhere in there. It was all a haze.
Right, of course. Obviously, drug related days. I get it. I get it. So you were on the streets and you ended up getting, what did you meet him? Like he was
He
just
picked
driving
me up.
by?
Yeah, he picked me up, and he talked me into going to his place, which was in Dunedin, which was quite a distance away. So I got him to pay me extra,
Good.
and I went
Good
to
for you.
Dunedin with him. For some reason, when we got to the house, it was so scary. It was so dark. It was a dead-end street.
That's your intuition.
Yes.
Now in hindsight, right?
In hindsight,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
Run.
Mhm.
I made him go up and turn on all the lights in the house and the lights outside. It was an old house with 4 apartments made out of it, and we were in the upstairs with the
Like a
big casement.
duplex?
It was a
2-flat duplex.
it was an old house they had made apartments out of, and we were in the top right corner, and it just I got every hair on
Got
my
it.
neck was standing. So we went up. We completed business, and I'm waiting to see if this guy's going to drive me back.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, you ready to go? And I'm like, I'm already at the door. I am so
You're
ready
like,
to go.
my purse has been packed, lady.
Yeah. So we're on the way back, and it had been like an hour or more, so I'd kind of come down from the drugs. And I had just been thinking for months about getting clean and how I was going to do it and where I was going to go. I was telling him about it, and he finally dropped me off. We talked about a few things. He dropped me off, and he came back a few days later
To find you specifically.
to find me specifically.
Okay.
He knew which motel I was staying.
Okay.
He found me, and he asked me if I was serious about getting clean. I said I was. He said, let's go.
You're like, thank God.
Yeah.
Right?
I just walked away from that life.
You're like,
And, with so many dreams of things to come and where I could go. I'm not a stupid lady. I was just
course.
very ignorant and very young.
and underprivileged probably in ways.
In some ways.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that. So then I watched your documentary, and there's like so many things that I have questions about, but I want to keep this like kind of in order.
Okay.
So you met him, he promised you something that you were just like, thank God, right? So then from there, where does it go?
It started off with just I was planning on spending a few days on his couch getting clean.
Okay.
I didn't know if I
And how
could
did that
be
go?
That went well. I ate a lot.
He cared
I
for
slept
you.
a lot.
He cared for you. And how was that withdrawal? If you don't mind me asking, like from drugs, whatever drugs you were on.
It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Were you on like
A lot of cocaine.
okay.
A
So
lot of cocaine.
and that's gross anyways to like come off of, but at
Yes.
least it's not something that could kill you, that you would need medical intervention.
No.
So that's good and bad at the same time.
I was very skinny. Like I said, I ate a lot. I
is
slept a
good.
lot. Think I
So he
slept.
took care of you.
Yes,
That's
he
good.
took care of me.
That's really good. And
He
also,
came home at night, and then after about a week, I started cooking dinner, and
you're like, oh, this could be a great future.
I'm like, okay, I'm okay to stay
You
for a little
saved
while.
me.
He goes, yeah, go ahead, stay.
He saved me.
And that's what my mother thought. I saved me.
Yeah, that I'm saying in your mind at this point.
Not my mind.
Oh no, so you knew.
I didn't know him or what was going to happen the next hour, let alone the next day.
I love that answer.
I saved me, young
Love
lady.
that.
I
love that answer so much. Okay, so moving forward, your mother was saying this though too to you, and did you tell her that when she would say that to you? Your mother.
I didn't talk to my family for a while until after I'd been clean for a few months.
Okay.
But Jimmy and I got to know each other, and we'd start going for walks along the water in Dunedin, Florida, and he was there for me. So one day I told him, I got up before him, I got ready. He was a window installer, and he was walking out the door to get ready to go to work, and I was right behind him. He turned around and said, where are you going?
Because you were ready.
I said, I'm going to get a job today. And he threw his head back and laughed at me. Said a few mean things like, who would want you to work for them? And I said, you know what? You won't see me again unless I have a job. I came home that night with a job.
I love that.
And he was so surprised.
That's gross that he was surprised, but also I love that for you and about you.
It is our choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a man or a woman, whatever situation you're in or whatever you've seen, whatever you think is going to affect you for the rest of your life, it is your choice, whether it does or not.
You're absolutely
You
right.
choose to be a survivor. You choose to get out. You choose to get clean. And once you've made up your mind, I would go through hell and high water to accomplish my goals. And I did.
And you did. And I'm so, so proud of you for that. So proud of you for that.
I wouldn't have made it without God.
Same.
Yes.
Same. We're getting ahead of ourselves, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I could cry right now. But anyways, so, all right. So he's being a douchebag when you're like telling him that you're going to come home with a job, and then you do. So how does it
Yes.
go from there?
it goes well from there. I work, he works, we come home, we eat, we take walks, we go to
For
the
how
pool
long?
for several years.
Okay.
Then towards the end, well, back to where we were. So we would take walks.
Mhm.
One day, after about 9 months to a year, I told him at one of our walks, I can see the park now. I said, I love you. And he started crying. When they asked them about that, he told me that nobody told him they loved him.
So that was a pinnacle situation for him, you think?
I think for him.
I think that's one of the questions that I'm going to ask later that is kind of answered, but go on.
Okay. Well, much later on, when he did hurt me, because he never hurt me, he never abused
For
me.
how long?
My
did, though.
timeline
He
on
did.
this is kind
He
of.
did hurt you.
He did hurt me.
He did.
He did hurt me the day of the OJ verdict.
Is that the closet situation?
No.
Okay,
Would you
yeah.
rather go there first?
That is where he hurt you first, as far as I know.
Well, he used to like to hide and sneak up on me. So I've known a lot of men, and a lot of you men have little boy games that you still play.
It's not game. That's
Oh.
not right.
He would hide behind the door and go boo, and I always knew he was there. It wasn't freaky to me. I always knew he was there. And you got to understand, the situation I had come from
I know.
was incredibly scary.
Yeah.
Anybody could have hurt me at any time. So it's
So
just
that's where you're, I
just
think.
Jimmy. Then he was in the car one time and popped up. That did scare me. Out of the
He was
back.
in the car, in
He
the
was
back
in
of
the
the car.
and popped up out of the back seat.
You were just driving,
Yeah,
and he was.
and I would ride my bike to because I got another job, a better
Okay.
job
Okay.
at a grocery store, and I would ride my bike down the Pinellas Trail, which
Okay.
is a bike path,
Okay.
to my other job at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
He would get in the truck.
So you're riding your bike, and he's following you in a truck.
Well, he's on the side roads, gets ahead of me, comes in through the bushes at a dead-end street, and jumps out at me.
That's not normal.
No.
Not at all. And
No.
that's definitely abuse and hurting you.
At that time, I didn't
I
see
know,
it that
I
way,
just
but
want you to-
I'm quite aware that it is
Okay.
now.
Because you're like, he didn't hurt me. That's hurting you.
Well, I skinned my knee,
I know.
cussed him out, and kept going.
I'm just saying, like, someone has to tell you, if no one ever has, that is hurting you.
I understand
Okay.
that now.
Okay, good. So he's doing these things and scaring you in the closet, but the
The
closet.
closet. So one day I came home from work. I got off about 2 or 3 because I went to work at 5
AM or PM?
in the afternoon.
Okay.
And that's when we had
And you guys
3
lived
soap
together.
operas.
You
So-
guys live together, right?
Yeah, we were
Okay,
still living together in the same place. And I watched all 3 of my soap operas. And then I didn't do the dishes the night before, so I did those. And while I was doing that, I got dinner ready to put in the oven. Then I got into the bathtub, hung out there for a while.
Oh, I can relate.
And it was a big bathtub, too. I got up, took a shower real quick. Across the hall was the door to the walk-in closet. I opened the door, I walked in, I reached for something to wear, and suddenly a hand reached out and grabbed me by the throat. I have to tell you that I was more scared then than I have ever been in my life. Knowing that even high heels are one of your best weapons.
I know.
So I tilted myself over, grabbing for my high heel shoes, and was hitting him on the head and trying to aim for the face.
But you didn't even know who you were.
I had
fighting.
no idea who it was. Before I knew it, the man had me wrapped in his arms, Indian style, on the floor, and rocking me, saying, "It's just me, baby. It's just me." Laughing.
And your intuition was
It's
saying
telling
one
me,
thing.
I got to get out of here.
Hmm. And was it from that moment on that you were plotting
No,
subconsciously,
I was
even?
still subconsciously.
I think
was.
so. Given like in hindsight with your documentary, I feel like in hindsight that was the moment that you subconsciously, but not You
Well,
know,
we moved after that.
you moved.
I moved.
Okay.
So we got a call from one of his old employers up north.
Hmm.
I didn't. I knew he had been on probation
Okay.
because he spun us
For.
for abusing his wife. But he spun it like
Oh yes, I remember that.
he
Yeah.
spun a story like
Believe
how
me.
she never moved during sex, and I just one day after years, I just reached out and grabbed her by the throat, and I got some response, and it really turned me on.
Hmm. Question for you. So, like, a lot of people like to be choked during sex. Is that not something you guys ever
I
were involved in?
After that story he told me that day,
Even before that or
being
after?
being what I used to be,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
understood.
you knew
I
it.
understood that if a man really wants something, he's gonna get it, and there is a way to control things.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him I'd let him pretend to choke me
Pretend. So that's
during
not something
sex.
you liked.
No,
Not at all.
definitely
Okay.
not.
Got it.
Definitely not. And nobody could touch my throat now anyway.
No, now for
No.
sure. But even before, that's not something
So
you.
when we did it, he just kind of went somewhere.
You could see it in his eyes.
And he started pressing down for real.
Yeah.
His eyeballs started moving back and forth, both of his eyes back and forth, not up and down. It was so
Yeah, it was
weird and
like.
so strange.
Mhm. I remember hearing that in your documentary.
Mhm.
Scary.
And I told him, I didn't give him any reaction. They're looking for a reaction. So if you don't give him one, then it's not going to turn him on. He may not want to do it again.
How did you know that instinctively?
I don't know. Being
Okay.
abused by men my whole life,
That's really sad.
feeling
memories.
like a target. After I was abused in the hotel at 6 years old, my parents told me to forget about it. It never happened. And then had me sitting in the man's lap around the campfire that night.
So.
By the
so
time I was 9, I was mad. I was very aware. At 9 years old, I was 5'3". I was all legs and neck. And men had never stopped looking at me. I felt like a target my whole life. I don't anymore, but I don't date
You
anymore.
probably, well, not a target, but like you know already what men are.
Yeah.
Not a target, but you know you look
No,
good.
I felt like a target.
That's what I'm saying. And not anymore. You feel like a target,
Yeah.
but you know what men look at and look for.
Yes.
And it's sad growing up feeling that way. I can relate somewhat, and I'm so sorry that you went through that.
Well, thank you.
So sorry. That is horrible. No one should ever
No.
go through that. So if no one has ever told you this, I'm sorry for them
Thank you.
doing that to you. So sorry. Okay, so then he comes out the closet, if for lack of better words, and does this to you, and you are,
Flipping
manipulated into thinking
It's just a
it's
game.
just a joke.
It's just a game. It's just his joke. That's all it is.
So sad. That's so sad. But okay, so then
So
you guys
then-
move.
So then his old boss calls and says they're looking for you again. And he says, well, I got to move. So we find another place. And we
What does
move.
that mean? They're looking for you.
Because we knew he had violated probation. In my world, everybody had violated probation.
I mean, I can
everybody
relate to
had
that.
a VOP.
I can relate to that.
It's
too.
something you just take care
But
of
so
when
his
you go
boss-
to jail for something else.
Right, but his boss was saying
His
they're looking
old
for
boss up in Mass
you. Okay.
called and said they've been by looking.
Okay.
I think they know you're in Florida.
Oh, so he's like, we got to move.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we
Running.
moved to Belcher
Okay.
in a triplex, and we had a little garden, and we were both just working our butts off, trying to save money. Which reminds me, he used to hide money in between the cabinets in the kitchen. I just remember.
That's crazy.
He was also very evidence conscious. I can remember being on Belcher. We had bought this little white truck from our previous landlord for him to work out of. But we put it in my name.
Of course.
And when we were washing it one day, he's got the alcohol out there. It's alcohol in the bed of the truck. Yes, it was an old dry paint job.
But still.
I
What?
found it a little odd, but,
Yeah.
didn't think twice of it. kept going. Then one day I noticed he shaved his arm. He always shaved his head.
Mm.
Then,
I do recall now that I'm
then one day he came home, and girl, I know these scratch marks were from a woman. They were clearly a woman scratching his back. I asked him about it, and he said that he scratched his back in some bushes. I knew better, so I
You're
didn't.
like,
And
bitch, who
something
are
told
you?
me not to ask about
Intuition once again.
it. Yes,
The Lord did build us to have that. He
I
did.
I definitely believe it.
And now
Or
that
it,
I've been through what I've been through, and
or is it the Lord in us? Is it
oh,
the
it is,
Holy
yeah,
Spirit in us warning us?
100%. And we're so stupid to not believe it when we're growing up.
Oh, please trust your intuition.
I know. If
Run.
that's one thing that I want anyone watching this to take from this.
Definitely.
As a woman, please, please trust your intuition. Please.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because every time,
Every time. It saved my life so many times.
even though like we've put it up past, like put it like, oh no,
Oh,
we make excuses.
It's okay. He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
You
And then
know,
later
he's
on in
just got
hindsight,
this
we're
one
like,
little quirk. And I'm like, yeah.
cork.
Hindsight, I'm like, what kind
Cork
of
my
idiot
asshole.
was I?
Okay, so the scratches on his back. How did you just were in your mind like, okay, I can't ask because I know better
Yeah.
because of the repercussions, right?
Because yeah.
You were already like, I need to get out of this,
I'm
and
already
I'm preparing
thinking-
myself to do so.
And I'm thinking he's having an affair.
Right, that's obviously, right?
So
Yeah.
he's
You're like, I just need to get out, but
later
I'm scared
on,
to do
I
it.
found out that he was having an affair and he was getting ready to move in with that lady
Oh, love
in
that.
St. Pete. Isn't that nice?
Love that for you. Mm-hmm.
So I was in school. I was back in school. I was moving
Thank God,
forward. I'm
yeah.
going to do good things in this world. I am going to be somebody. Nobody can stop me. I'm back in school and I'm sitting in class and detectives come in. We need Terry Howard. And they come over and I'm like, wait a minute, I turned myself in on all my old charges. What's the problem here?
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
You find something I don't know about.
I swear. What did I do?
And they took me by the arm, took me outside, and told me nothing. They put me in the car and they took me to another sheriff's office. I'm sitting in the sheriff's office. The sheriff himself, everybody's there. All the detectives are like 4 or 5 detectives on different murders because he did murder more than the 2 they proved. We know that. And I'm sitting there, and at first it was just like,
You're like,
it's like a
whoa.
bomb going off.
Everything is like, shh.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm like in the corner going, no, 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 no. And then everything starts coming back to me. The scratches, the closet, the this, the that.
The sex choking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was true.
You're like,
So finally I asked them, why'd you leave me in there? My whole family's cops. I would have helped you. We could have gotten this guy a long time ago. And one detective looks over at me and says to me, oh, we left you in there just so if you died, we knew we could prove it.
that's honestly one thing that I wrote down when I was watching your documentary. I was like, how did that make you feel when they said that to you?
Like I was nobody and nothing. I wasn't even as significant as
I can't even
an
imagine.
ant.
Yeah. So
I
how did
was
you
something that they were going to use and throw away just like everybody else.
clearly, that's what they were telling you to your face, right? Like, how did you even muster up the next words to say to them?
Well, I cussed them out.
Get a girl, high five. But also, like, I mean, you know, because obviously you don't want to let, I can feel your empathy for humans in general. So, like, it must have been something you didn't want to just be like, and like leave
No.
because they treated you like that. So
Let me tell you a little story about something that happened to Jimmy when he was 6 years old.
okay.
Jimmy was standing silently by in the kitchen. I don't know if his parents even knew he was there. They were arguing, and the argument escalated into a fight. The fight resulted in the father choking the mother until she passed out on the counter. He then picked up her body, threw her in the bed, and raped her while Jimmy watched. That was his whole M.O. That was everything he did. So all those parents that say it's okay to do this or that in front of my child, they're too young to understand. Well, that is my point exactly. They are too young to understand. And you don't know what's going to flip a, a,
Yeah.
a trigger in their mind. You don't know how it's going to affect them later in life.
I think that speaking carefully, I think that from my experience, there is a lot of things that even my parents and parents from people from my generation didn't understand about mental health and how things can affect them later on in life.
Yes.
So I have experienced things from exes that put them in positions where they are narcissists, and I have been one to feel bad for them at first, and then realize that it's unfixable. So I think that's probably where you were at, right? Like
can't.
you know where they came from
Yes.
and how it ended up that way, and almost feel bad for them at first, right? And then realize, even trying to, that
I
you
didn't
can't
find
fix
this
it.
out until much later.
Same. Same. But at first, I was like, oh, shoot, this isn't your fault. Like, let me help if I can, right? But
Yeah.
then, because, like, I know where you came from and your past, and I felt horrible. And then also was, like, trying to live with it and realized that I was the one suffering, and so were my kids.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, a
that's
lot of women are in this situation.
a lot.
And a lot of women make excuses for him.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of women don't think they can live without him because
Yeah.
he has put her down so much that she feels like she's not worthy for anything else in her life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they verbally put you down, they physically put you down, they mentally and spiritually put
Financially,
you down.
always. Yep.
They will break you down to the point where you just don't feel like anybody else would want you.
Been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
I'm so sorry for you.
It's okay.
But we are survivors.
We are.
And we are going to rise above all of them.
Yes. Am working on it, gonna do it. So yes. And so that's why you are an inspiration to me. And I love talking to you today. Very
Well,
happy
I
to
hope
do
to
so.
be an inspiration to anyone who needs to get out of a domestic violence situation.
And I wish the same. So I'm glad to talk to you.
Just quit your job,
And
honey.
you wrote a book.
I am writing a book.
You're writing a book.
I'm up to 41 chapters.
What's the name of your book?
I think we're going to call it A Killer in My Bed.
That's nice. I like that. I like that name. So you'll have to let us know when it's done what the name of it is so we can promote it for you.
Excellent.
I would love to do that.
That would be
I would
wonderful.
love to read it. I would love to give it to people.
Okay.
I think I'm a fan of yours already.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so where were we in your story? You're in the interrogation situation where they're talking to you.
Yes.
And you're like, oh crap, this is actually,
This is real.
yeah, like
They
he did
called
this.
my sister to come over. She's a retired police officer. Yeah, it was very real. A little too real.
Yeah.
It was so real, it seemed surreal.
And you were like, so did they tell you like how to go home after this? Like how to, because you live with this man.
No. He had gone, meanwhile, he had gone on the run. They tried to stop him, and he had his worker in the car. They were going to install windows.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Just a normal
Random
day.
job,
Just
you know.
a normal day.
Yeah.
He's going as fast as he can, this poor little truck. He gets to one corner and he says to his partner, you need to bail out now because I'm not going to be slowing down after this.
He told him to just tuck and roll.
He tucked and rolled. He did it.
Horrible.
He tucked and rolled.
I'm so sorry for
I feel
whoever
so-
that man is.
I won't say
Sorry.
his name, but
whoever you are.
God
I'm
bless
so
him.
sorry. You
God
had to
bless
tuck and
him.
roll.
Then he's on the list. They shut down a school.
How did he know?
All the kids are in the school. Their parents are freaking out. So they've got like a map or something. I'm like, where is he? And they told me where he was. And I don't remember if I knew the area or there was a map.
How did they know?
They said he's in the woods. I said, you got infrared cameras up already.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. He's in that lake right behind the school in the woods.
You just
And they're
knew.
like, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Nothing. I said, you know what? The man always had a straw. We had literally gone to every state park all the way out of Florida. I think he had a plan to get out of Florida through the state parks. He went into the water. He confirmed this later to me.
Like
He went
with the little-
into the water to avoid the infrared cameras with the straw.
so that he could breathe.
Yeah.
Oh my
When the
god.
helicopters and the cops went away and they finally let all the kids back out of the school and let their parents pick them up, was it a day or two later? He comes. First off, we had pagers.
Oh yeah.
I had cops living with me. I smoke weed. I'm like, you don't like it? Go outside.
Exactly.
I am not going to put up with this for much longer. Okay? I either need to get out or I need to get him in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And how long was this process
so I
at this
paged.
point?
This
When you're
is
saying
a-
like I can't do this, like this is too much.
well, the cops had been with me for 2 days. That
Okay,
was
so
enough.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
That was enough.
You're like,
Not
I
that
don't want anyone living with me at this point.
I love
Hello.
police officers, and
But also, like, you're like dealing with all of this traumatic.
yes, my
Yeah.
head is spinning.
And you want
just
probably just a
spinning.
minute of alone time to like process
Yeah, well,
anything.
that wasn't happening.
Right.
So I remember I was in the bedroom. What was I saying?
You were talking about how he was, well, he was on the run and you had police living with you.
So I don't know if you kids don't know about pagers, but we had
That's-
codes.
I had a sister who had a pager.
You would page somebody your phone number or the phone number at the phone booth you were at, and they would call you.
Yeah.
But we had codes.
Yeah.
I love you code, 911, come home, or call
Call
me, it's an
home,
emergency. You know, there was even ways to use the letters to write
Yeah,
out
like
codes.
IL, yeah.
So I 911, I 222'd him, I love you.
Question.
I got him to come back.
Oh, so you were working with the police, not against.
No, I was
You
working
were-
on my own. They told me I could
You just
not-
missed him.
You cannot use your own phone.
Did you just miss
I
him,
said,
or were you trying to
no,
get him
no,
caught?
no.
Okay, got it.
I wanted to
Yes,
try to catch him.
got it.
They told me I couldn't use my own phone. I said, well, I damn sure can use my own phone. I picked it up and used it. And he came back to me. So after he went through a golf course. He grabbed a screen out of the golf course because he hated mosquitoes. And he put it over himself. And he made his way down the median of Belcher in Clearwater, Florida.
With a screen on his
With the
body.
cops flipping this way, north, south, east, west, cops in the trees,
Florida
cops
cops
in my
need to
house,
get it together.
cops everywhere.
And they just missed a man with a screen up on his body. Okay.
Oh,
Hope
I
we've-
can tell you stories, girl. Anyway,
I just moved here, so I don't know.
okay,
I thought we were. Right, hey, go on.
okay. He comes right up to the front door
With police there,
with police.
you're just allowed to walk up. Okay.
Yeah. He got charged with hitting the policewoman. She hit herself with that screen because she was so surprised to see him. But about an hour before he came, I was trying to sleep in the bedroom, and all of a sudden I got this really creepy feeling. And I just slid out of my bed, and I went into the corner, and I just knew. I knew with every fiber
I know
of my
exactly what you're
being
saying. too.
that
When I-
that man was here.
When I watched that part of your documentary, I was almost like doing that, recoiling.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
doing, and I knew he was there. And I even told the cops, I said,
And they're
no,
like,
it's
"Ah."
not. There's not. You're just freaking out. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Men don't have the same
I don't know
intuition.
nothing. I know nothing.
You're like,
He
fine,
was
cool.
next door. The guy was gone. He had broken into the apartment next door and was trying to listen through the walls. And then he figured everything got quiet, so he figured everything's cool. And he opens the gate, comes around,
Knocks on your
knocks
fucking
on the
front
door.
door. Good
So
thing
she
you didn't
hits
answer.
herself with the screen.
She hits herself with the screen.
Everybody's supposed to be protecting me, and
Mm-hmm.
splits.
What?
They're all gone.
What?
I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what happens if he circles back?
They leave you
They
there?
left me. They're all
Why?
chasing Jimmy.
Oh, they're chasing him.
Yeah, he ran again. Finally, the dog, Max, got him a couple miles away. My hero, the dog.
You know what? That reminds me of a song that my son loves too. One of those songs where it's like the dog always is the one at the jailhouse or whatever. The dog's always the one that you gotta be mindful of
Uh-huh.
because they don't have.
Well, just
Human
remember that
emotions.
mean dogs don't bark. They
Nope.
bite.
Mm-hmm. And they smell the blood.
Mm-hmm. And they
So
like
I'm
it.
glad. I'm glad. Thank you, Max. Hopefully Max is still around and still alive, and he deserves a Purple Heart.
I'm sure he's not, but yes, he
Aw.
does. Yes,
Or Max
he
then.
does.
I miss Max already.
I do too.
But okay, so then after that day, how did it go? So he got caught.
He got caught,
Was he
and they
bitten up?
had me. So I wanted to see him.
Yeah, I wanted to see the wounds too.
I want to see him. I want
You
to
didn't
see
get
him.
to?
So I go to jail to visit him,
You did.
and they've got me visiting him. They said keep going.
Oh, because they wanted you to get info.
Cause yeah, and always, I don't know if you've ever been to jail visitation, but it's a bunch of little windows with phones on each side.
I've seen it on the movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to get.
And you don't want to be there.
I mean, I've had friends, but
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No,
Yeah,
you don't want to do it.
Mm-mm.
And we're talking, and I'm, hoping he'll say something.
Right,
But
you're kind of trying
do I really want him to say something? So
to. Yeah.
we're talking. He thinks I'm still gonna stick by him. Then one day, he writes backwards on the glass. I asked him, "Why not me, Jimmy?" I just got
I was gonna
fed
ask
up
you
with it
that
all.
too.
I said, Jimmy, why not me? Why didn't you kill me?
Hmm.
And manipulator that he was, he writes backwards on the glass because that's how you communicate in jail from pod to pod. And he didn't want to say it out loud.
Hmm.
I hurt others, so I wouldn't hurt you.
That still doesn't answer the
I
question why.
got so mad. You are not putting this on me.
Yeah.
I had nothing
That still
to
doesn't
do
answer
with
the question
your
why.
urges, your whatever you're going through. And I hung up and walked out, and I never spoke to him again.
Haven't. Wow.
No, but I think I might want a final chapter for myself. I may go visit him.
If you want me to go with you, I will. Say,
This is
I got your back, girl.
Hey, I got a lot of
That's
officers that got my back in
crazy.
prison.
Yeah, that's crazy that he said that. And I think it's something too that you felt like he was blaming you, because when you said that to me, I'm thinking that still doesn't answer the question. Like, it doesn't answer the question, why them and not you? For you it doesn't, or for me it doesn't. Thinking of you.
The day of the OJ verdict, they were trying to make me the first living murder victim in the world.
What?
Yes.
Who's they?
The police officers, the district attorney. It was something they were throwing around.
Was
in any case.
OJ? That was not in Florida, right?
No, but it was watched by Jimmy for every
Okay, so Jimmy,
for every little evidence thing that
Mhm.
he could possibly
because
learn.
he was trying to learn. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he picked me up, choked me until I passed out, threw me in the bed. He thought, and raped what he thought was my dead body. His teardrops are what woke me up. They were slapping on my eyelids and my face and my nose. And when I opened my eyes, no one was more scared, freaked out than Jimmy was. He got up off of me. I told him if he ever touched my neck again, and I knew then I had to get out, that I was going to cut his balls off in the middle of it.
I think that's funny, but also I can kind of relate to a similar story, which is
They
kind of
asked,
tripping me up.
they asked Jimmy later, why were you crying when you hurt Terry? And he said, I felt like, he said very little about things,
Mhm.
but he did answer this one. He said, I felt like I had just killed the only person who ever loved me.
Do you think that he felt you were the only person who loved him because you didn't fight back? Because I remember you saying that was
Because
something.
I kind of accepted him as he was.
Right. I feel like
I'd been with a lot of bad men.
right. And I feel like in your documentary you kind of mentioned that you were the one person who didn't put up a struggle or a fight when he
No,
was
I
doing
didn't.
those things, and
That-
so maybe
but
he
remember,
in
that's
his
what
mind
turned him on.
the struggle was.
Maybe he had more respect for me because
That's what I'm
of
saying.
that.
Yeah, he thinks maybe in his mind that it was not giving him excuses at all, obviously, but like the fact that you didn't struggle, that's him to him love.
Who could say what's in Jimmy's
Right.
mind?
That's crazy. And he's still in prison for life?
2 consecutive life sentences, and he has a detainer out of Worcester, Mass. So one night he told me about he hated his wife's best friend, hated her, and he
Previous
would
wife.
even mention that sometimes while we were talking. So one night he tells me, but then we came to an understanding. I think that's the way he put it. We came to an understanding. And he told me that they met at a bar. They were both at the same bar, and they
Who's they?
started
Him
drinking.
and his ex-wife or the
Him
friend?
and the best friend of
Okay.
his ex-wife. They were at a bar, and somehow they ended up drinking and getting along. And things were going pretty good, so they wanted to have a few more beers. So they went to he said, his favorite fishing hole. And I guess the night just ended there. Pretty much the way he put it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I'm confronted with detectives out of Worcester, Mass. I can't say all those names. And they tell me a story that sounds
Very similar.
very familiar. So I told them the story he told me, and they said that's the man who killed him, and that's exactly what.
Is that one of the two that he was?
No, that one's in
That's
a
the
different
one.
state.
That's the one that he's not convicted. Because I know there was 3 before 1997, right?
Yes,
That's the ones that was talked about in the documentary.
yes.
On the
There were
same
actually
street.
4 or 5. Well, that was yes. He picked those
On the
ladies
same
up
street
off
that
of
you worked.
North Fort Harrison. No, I did not work that.
Okay.
Everybody gets that wrong.
Okay.
That was a very low life area.
Okay. Well, excuse
I
me.
was looking for a better
She
clientele.
said, listen, I needed somebody with more
Quite
money than that.
frankly, there's no money over there.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not from that lifestyle, but thank you for that clarification, everybody. Okay, make sure you get that right. if
I
you're
worked
watching the
golf
documentary.
to bay.
Okay, golf to bay.
Yeah.
Worked
Worked.
prior to. She's not in business anymore. So don't
No.
even.
No.
Don't even try.
No.
Because there might be.
I'm
listen,
too
the
old
internet.
now,
Listen, the
please.
internet.
I'm
You
way
never know who
Yeah,
might hit
okay.
you up. Okay.
I don't need a guy who likes toes or feet or. I can tell you more weird stories from my days.
I'm all open ears if you want to.
Oh, you
can.
don't want to know.
I do.
That's a whole
Maybe
nother
off camera.
podcast.
Maybe off camera.
That's a whole nother podcast.
No, okay, yeah. Whole nother podcast. Hear that, Ray? No, I see you as an inspiration, though. Like I said, whenever I heard you were coming on the podcast, I was like, okay, let me watch this documentary. Because, I mean, first of all, I'm a true crime enthusiast. I'm sure a lot of women are, right? Like, we all like to
I don't
watch that
get it.
shit. I don't know why.
I don't get it.
You don't watch true crime?
No.
Okay. Well, I do. I have for a long time. Well, okay, so my dad, when I was little, used to always watch, like, Forensic Files.
Okay.
Okay. And even when I was little, it's now like, it used to be called Court TV.
Oh, I do.
Do you
like
remember Court TV? Remember Court TV? It was like channel 42 or 45 or something. Okay.
I do.
I used to watch that because my dad did. And so then and that was like, honestly, the monotone of the guy's voice.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Right? It was just like, so like, I don't know if that's what it was, but then also I'm just interested in like hearing about that stuff. And so I don't know if it came from that, but so I've always watched that. Now YouTube and all that stuff, like, you watch all the true crime stuff. And so when I heard you were coming on, I was like, oh, I want to watch your documentary. And I'm surprisingly could relate to a lot of the things. Obviously not the
Oddly
serial
enough, a
killer
lot
part.
of women can.
Sadly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, I really was almost like nervous to interview you because I was like, First of all, I don't want to cry. I got my waterproof mascara on just in case. And I didn't want to say things that would get me in trouble later with
Anybody.
anybody. And also, yeah, I was just interested. And I want to tell you like how proud of you I am.
I really appreciate that. I do.
I appreciate you being here.
I just want other women to know that there's a way out.
Exactly.
That they're strong enough.
Yeah, because I
And
didn't know that
if they
either.
follow their instinct or the God in them, follow the Holy Spirit that is speaking to you.
Yeah. And I think as women, I don't know, I can't speak obviously from a man's perspective, but I know that a lot of stories that I've heard, even like yours and even women, like there's a lot of people on YouTube now that are like compiling like TikTok people that are saying like, oh, who am I married to? Who are I almost married? Or who is my, whatever. They're like all these stories that I end up listening to because I'm like doing dishes or whatever. And it's just like plays, right? And I'm like, this is crazy how many people I can relate to that like before the social media platforms empowered and also gave the platform to anyone, not only women, but anyone to just speak their truth and their stories. Because I didn't know what a narcissist was until I was
They're
learning about it and
impossible.
already married to it.
Completely
So,
impossible to deal with. You cannot win.
yeah. And I went
You
through the
cannot
process
win.
of trying to, like, I thought, oh my gosh, this isn't your fault. Like,
No.
I found, like, the name to the problem, let's fix it. And then I was met with the gaslighting of you're the problem. So I spent years of therapy and all this thing. You know what I mean? So I can relate to the confusion. And, like, then whenever you said, like, okay, this is where I knew I had to, like, I don't know, but you have to do it
Ah,
safely,
yes, you have to
you
do it
know?
safely.
So like that whole thing too, and a lot of people don't have resources, and so that's sad and
There
scary.
is a safe space or domestic violence shelter in every county in this country. If there is not one in your county, there is one in
But
the
even
next.
not even it doesn't have to get to the domestic violence stage though.
No,
It doesn't.
it could be mental abuse. Somebody's putting you down all the time. They're just trying to keep you there so they can use you.
When you have that intuition, that's
Mm,
the thing that women need to remember. When you have men too, but like when you have that gut feeling that this isn't right, this feels like a red flag or whatever, you
trust
have
me.
to listen to
Yeah,
it.
you have to.
You have to, because otherwise it could get far worse,
Yes.
can't it?
Yes, it can. I know
And
from
thank God
experience.
we're survivors of things, and
Yes.
you far worse things. Thank God you're here today.
Yes.
And so you're gonna let us know when your book comes out.
I am.
I'm excited
I
to hear
am.
about it.
Yes. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
come on again and read you a
You
few
have
excerpts
to.
from
You
the
have
book.
to. You have to. I'm excited to see you again soon.
Excellent. I really appreciate the interview.
I appreciate you being here as well.
I'm
Is there anything else you guys want to ask? That was a lot of it. Well, thank you again for coming on Chaos
Thank you,
Mindset. It was
sweetheart.
very nice to meet
That
you.
was awesome.